All right, good morning, everyone from the Pacific Northwest. This is Nancy Rebecca with Intuitive Mind, and I am live on YouTube. So, hello, everyone out there in YouTube land and live on Facebook as well. So, just going to give you all, because I'm live, give you some time to find this recording and pop on and let me know where you are tuning in from. I have my trusty coffee this morning, and this is a beautiful coffee mug that my son got me from Japan. So I really love how it's made because I love my coffee. And if I can have it in a great mug, it's even better. So this morning, I'm going to be talking about how to shift barrel bottom to top drawer frequencies. I said in minutes, but it's actually, you can do it in quite a few seconds, and then it takes maybe a few minutes to hopefully feel a little better with the frequency that you choose to tune into. Hey, Sam, such enthusiasm. Minus 24 degrees in Canmore, Alberta. Wow, wow, wow. Penticton. Boy, lots of Canadians this morning. Chile, Alberta. Hello from Phoenix, Arizona. Another one, Kelowna, BC. Wow. Good morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, this morning I'm going to be talking about vibrations and frequencies, one of my favorite subjects. I'm going to be talking about the type of frequency that you put out in the world. Is it a weak frequency or is it a strong frequency? Hello from Tucson. Hi from Texas. Good morning to you two from Florida. I'm going to talk about the word panpsyche. So, if anybody knows what the word panpsyche is without looking it up, you can go ahead and post that in the comments section. Good morning, Rebecca from Pioneer, California. If you're having a gorgeous day. We're having a gorgeous day too, but it is. I just heard someone out on the street scraping the ice off their windshield. So I know that it's cold around here. Good morning, Mary and Christina. I'm going to then guide you through a meditation, really a quick tip. The fastest thing you can do to get yourself back to neutral when you're in a frequency, you're caught in a frequency and a vibration that just feels really yucky. And yeah, I think I think that's going to keep us pretty busy. So good morning. Snowy, snowy, snowy. I love snow. I love the fall. We're just still losing our leaves. The temperature's really dropping, but the colors of the leaves are still in the trees around here. So definitely the weather is uh, here in the Pacific Northwest very different than what we are used to. All right. So here it is Thursday. It is November 17th when I'm doing this live, although you may be watching this recording later on. So let me just start with, let me just kind of set this up a bit about frequencies, vibrations, weak signals, strong signals, because that's going to really help that conceiving of how you shift from that kind of the bottom of the barrel. And what do I mean by bottom of the barrel? What that means is, yeah, when you just feel about as low as you can go and you just can't seem to shake it, and hardly anything you do, um, uh, you just aren't able to get to that right frame of thinking. Often I will have people say, how do you do all that you do? Like you're always producing and you're making these videos and you're writing these programs and you're teaching and so I am doing a lot, but I practice at it a long time. I tell people it is my full-time job, so that's why you see me almost full-time. But when I ask my team of spirit guides who were asking me to add one more thing to my list, and I said, wow, when was the last time you were in a human body? When was the last time that you were clearly aware that at the human level, at the 3D level, we just don't move as fast as you can in the spirit level? I mean, you really think about if you wanted to become an astronaut, you want to go to the moon. I always use this example. And it's like, you'd have to go get an education, and you would have to apply, and you'd have to go through all this training for years, maybe like 12 years before you can get in a rocket ship and then fly and then land on the moon. But as spirit, you just have that thought and you're there. You just close your eyes and say, wow, I'm going to go to the moon. And within a nanosecond, you literally at the fifth dimensional or higher level are at the moon. So yeah, so we can shift our frequency that fast. But so what my spirit guide said is the amount of work that you have to do, Nancy, is not the issue, it's your attitude. And I could still remember that, feeling quite offended. Like, what do you mean about my attitude? But I get what they were saying. They were like, shift it. If you're feeling overwhelmed, overburdened, then shift it and say, hey, I've got plenty of time to get everything done that I need to get done. And so I work on that a lot. Don Harper's talking about a great video called Positive Vibes, Positive Vibes. I can't do, oh yeah, that cute little video of the girl. I can't do negativity today. However, negativity is going to get your attention. And that's what I mean by the bottom of the barrel. If it's sitting there, that black muck at the bottom of the barrel, if it's sitting there, it's going to get your attention every single time. There's no way you can happy, joy through it. So, all right. So all frequencies have a value within a wide range of vibrations. You personally emanate, illuminate multiple frequencies at the same time. I mean, if you think about a piano or you think about a 12-string guitar, it's going to have those low frequencies and it's going to have those high frequencies. If you're playing the guitar and you're strumming those strings, and it can sound, all that wide range of frequency can sound really beautiful. And then you accidentally, your nail catches the chord, and then all of a sudden it's very discordant. The same thing can happen in the human body, where you get caught on one of those stuck memories, those painful memories. You kind of get caught, and then all of a sudden it just radiates this discordant energy out, and then you don't feel very good either. If you have a weak signal, so you have your aura, but you have this radiance that should be on the inside of your body radiating out. However, I've worked with people for a long time, and I will tell you about 20% of the time when someone comes in to see me, I'll see all this beautiful light around the outside of them. It's just gorgeous. And when you walk up, it's like, wow, you're such this bright light. But then when I tune in with my psychic eyes, my clairvoyant eyes, I see that on the inside, it's like lights out. It's very cold. It's very dark. And it's like the bottom of the barrel energy is stuck on the inside so that the light of their spirit can't come back in. And beautifully, energy moves very nicely. So it's like once you get a psychic healing and energy healing, you can clear that out and then invite your spirit back on the inside again today. So we'll start just a little bit of that. So if you have a weak signal, that weak signal may go out past your aura, maybe 1 to 2 inches. Maybe 1 to 2 feet, not very far. So you end up kind of moving through the world. People don't notice you very much. You try to say something and they're not able to hear you. You've got a low signal. It's hard for people to tune into you when you've got kind of a low, dull signal. Now I'm going to go to the other extreme, where I remember the Dalai Lama was in Vancouver, British Columbia, and there were several people that were traveling up there to see him. And they said that they still had 2 hours drive, but suddenly they felt the frequency start to bump up quite high. So can you imagine the Dalai Lama putting out a frequency signal that is so strong, so broad, so wide that people could feel it 2 hours before they actually drove there. So several hundred miles out. So when we have those types of frequencies, you can feel them before you get there. When I was in Ireland, I remember, this was not the most recent trip, but I was sitting on the bus and suddenly I went, whoa, the vibrations going up. What's happening here? The frequency's starting to go really high. And I remember asking people around me on the bus, can you feel that? Can you feel that? And then I remember talking to Maria, who helps kind of lead these trips. I said, wow, what's happening up here? Where are we going to? Because it was that dramatic. Well, we go to find out the next town that we went to, there was a surprise stone circle that she was wanting us to visit as a group. And she didn't tell us because she wanted to surprise us. So I had no way of knowing, but I could feel the frequency of that stone circle 30 miles before we actually got there. So that is frequencies. You can feel low frequencies can be that strong, can go out hundreds of miles. Let me just call them more like destructive frequencies, can be very destructive, hundreds of miles around. And then you can have very uplifting and unifying frequencies that can also really influence us hundreds of miles out. So I'm kind of asking you this morning, kind of tune in. You've heard me talk a couple times this month about, what is the frequency? What is the ripple effect that you're having in the water? What are you putting into the river of life as far as your frequencies going? So we're just kind of adding to that a little bit more today. And when your frequency signal is weak, have you ever heard people say, hey, where are you today? I don't even feel you. You feel absent. Are you distracted? Is your energy somewhere else? So that's what they're saying when they just can't feel you. Meditation and prayer can enhance the signal that you're putting out there. Meditation and prayer. So everyone is influenced by the stronger frequencies of others. Everyone is influenced by the stronger frequency of others. I was reading a study about fireflies. So there are scientific programs out there that are measuring frequencies and trying to understand frequencies. So a firefly, they found when they studied these fireflies that all their lights started turning on and they were flashing their lights. However, fireflies that were 30 miles away started flashing their lights at the same time, even though they couldn't see the other fireflies. So what they were saying is that frequency started to go out with just, one or two fireflies flashing their light. And then as that frequency went out, everybody started matching that. So when I talk about the bottom of the barrel frequency to the top drawer frequency, what that's about is you can align with that lower frequency. Then you end up feeling depressed, or anxious or stressed or really out of sorts, and you don't know why. And that's because you've matched that frequency. Or you can be around somebody else and you've matched that frequency. So I always, there's a saying, whoever has the strongest frequency wins. And that's very true, because if you're not kind of strong within your own constitution, you don't have that strong inner core, you can be easily influenced by the frequency of others. So you just hope that you've surrounded yourself by people who are conscientious about their frequencies. Wow, excuse me. My eyes are getting dry. All right, so got a couple, the 100th monkey. The 100th monkey, that's definitely about consciousness. I'm going to talk about panpsychism, which is about consciousness here in a minute. We are not meant to live within just one frequency or get stuck in the bottom of the barrel of old pain. We have the ability to shift that, just like my spirit guide said. Shift your attitude, Nancy. This is nothing. Shift your attitude. It's not that big of a deal. Don't be sitting there thinking about, I have so much work to do. How am I going to meet all my deadlines? I mean, can you feel it? Have you done that before, where you just kind of spin your wheels and you're just caught in that frequency and you stick to that frequency And it's like, we're doomed. We're never going to make it. That's a frequency. And then it's like, hey, wait a minute. Hold up here. I don't have to sit in that. Let me shift to another frequency that I want to be in. So we're not meant to live in that. And the bottom of the barrel is simply one frequency. And guess what? In the spirit world, one frequency is not bad and another frequency is good. In the spirit world, there isn't that kind of judgment about the frequency. As a matter of fact, in the spirit world, it's just, everything is just kind of even keeled. There's frequencies, but you kind of ride the vibes of those frequencies, but they're much higher frequencies. So it's like this kind of calm water at the top, but if you go deeper, that's where you can hit some turbulent currents. I consider us here on the third dimensional plane as humans living in turbulent currents at this time. So we want to kind of reach for those higher frequencies. But this is the thing, we can't ignore the other ones. It will get our attention. And I know that you all know what I'm talking about. So you do have other frequencies you can align with, but when you feel terrible, it's almost like it feels like you only have 3 strings on the 12-string guitar to play. When you feel bad, it's hard to even imagine that you have ever felt good before. So yeah, you get stuck in that. So it's really great to practice it before you kind of get into a crisis. Yeah. Someone said, when you're doing, like with me doing my projects, do the thing you don't want to do first, and then you'll feel much better. And that's true, but it is really nice to shift your frequency, and then everything that you do, you enjoy doing. But we're not taught how to shift frequencies. And I feel like that maybe 10 years ago, we just didn't have this information. It just didn't come as easily. So I'm going to, again, share with you some easy tips. So remember, we're in the month of Scorpio. And remember, Scorpio is like, come on, folks, let's get down and dirty. Let's get in there. Let's clean this muck out. And that's really what this frequency is about here in November. It's like not surface skating, skateboarding, but really getting into the thick of it. And so the scorpion has that little tail, that stinger tail that has toxins, has poisons in it. This month of November, it's like that scorpion tail is just striking at the spot where it wants you to give some attention. Take a look at this. So let's say, for example, that you have a relationship with a best friend that you've had, for 30 years. But every time you kind of get together with them, there's that little sting. Let's just say that little scorpion sting. And that just means, pay attention. What is the signal here? What's the frequency in that relationship that may need to shift? And so this time every year in November, Scorpio really wants to challenge us to address those kind of painful places. I remember, I'm going to talk a little bit about hatred, because that is one of the frequencies that is making us all pretty sick right now. So hatred, I remember way back in my early spiritual development, and I remember kind of sensing this hatred vibration frequency. And I remember thinking, I don't have a hate-filled bone in my body. I love everyone. And how many people in the spiritual community, they feel that way. They say, we just have to love, we just have to love. Let's love everybody. So, have my friend who's always teasing me about it, because I'm like, I think that word love gets a little overused, especially when you might not feel very loving. And you might hold a lot of pain inside. So we're going to talk about hatred. The frequency of hatred, or the energy of hatred, is, I call it putrefied fear. But what I mean by that is that you've had so much fear that you've stuffed down just to survive in life, and you've stuffed it and stuffed it and stuffed it and stuffed it and stuffed it until it just starts kind of liquefying on itself. That fear gets really, really old. And then it's almost like an acid in your energy system. It can make you feel really, really, really sick. And you can be an incredibly wonderful person, but because of your environmental circumstances or excuse me, ancestral or past life, you can have a lot of hatred inside. And that's what we are in the world right now. Boy, I'm losing my voice this morning. In the world right now are releasing hatred, and it doesn't look so pretty. So, yes, Sumingo, the power of intention. So, with pain, I call hatred is kind of like this festering, spilling, agitation, irritation, and hatred on everyone around us. And I remember the one officer that worked at the Capitol, and during January 6th, and I was listening to an interview with him, and he said, I was in the military, I was in Iraq, I was in Afghanistan, I became a police officer, and in all those situations, I've been exposed to deep hatred and violence. And he said, but when I experienced the depth and the level of the hatred during January 6th, during the insurrection, he said, I had never experienced that level of hatred before. So we're going to clear a little bit of toxins. We're just going to call it toxins. I don't even know what range of frequency it is, but there might be a little bit of hatred that you have inside that you're going to drain with it today. So remember, November is all about choice points, crossroads, action steps to select the frequency that you wish to put out into the world. It's a time where we want to stop muddying the waters and help them get clear again. And we are doing that. Yesterday, Yvonne and I were walking our dogs, and we went to cross the street, and this man had his truck, and he kind of stops in the middle of the intersection, and he rolls down his window, and he goes, I'm so sorry, I'm about ready to make a U-turn. And he was concerned about us stepping into the street. And Yvonne yelled back something like, well, that's okay. You've got a great smile, so you can get away with anything. And then he starts laughing, and he's like, thank you very much. And then he turned and he rolls down his other window, and he said, have a great day. You're awesome, or something like that. But what we realized was that was an expression of what we're starting to feel already. The kindness is coming back. Caring is coming back. And those are frequencies. We're shifting as a society from that bottom of the barrel way of thinking, mental meanness, and we're shifting it back to kindness and caring, which is just a much nicer frequency to live with. So let me just talk about panpsychism before we do a meditation. Yes, thank you, Danelle. I do need some lemon water for my throat. Okay, so panpsychism, does anybody know what pan means? I looked it up in the dictionary. I didn't know what it meant. It means everything. Everything. So pan means everything. And psychism or psyche means soul. So I'm always saying psychic means soul. It's an old Greek word. Psyche means soul. So pan means everything. Psyche means a soul. Everything has a soul. Now, the ancient philosophers talked about this, that everything has a state of consciousness. Everything has a variety of frequencies. So the smallest of atoms can have a very rudimentary consciousness. And then as those atoms come together, all those molecules, those little energy bubbles come together more, then that can inspire the fragrancy of honeysuckle, or it can inspire you to crave to have a cup of tea. So as these kind of atoms get together closer, it's like, the greater consciousness. Humans have this kind of gift of being able to tap into several frequencies at the same time, several levels of consciousness at the same time. So panpsychism, the belief that everything has a soul, trees, animals, chairs, we're all made of the same atoms. And so there's a little bit of consciousness in everything. And so I encourage you to look that up, read more about it. It's a really interesting topic. So how are we going to shift? Thanks, Danelle. My throat's feeling better just by the thought of hot lemon. So how are we going to shift? So in the past, I've talked about taking the elevator up. If your consciousness, your first, second, and third chakra are the physical frequencies that help you to adapt and integrate your spiritual light into this human world. But the bottom three frequencies of survival and emotional power, so emotional power at a survival level, when we've been hurt or harmed in our life, you can kind of throw that old garbage into the basement. So you imagine that it's in the lower part of the body below the diaphragm. So when we go down into the lower part of our body with our light, our spiritual light, we're buried in those more painful frequencies. So ideally, over time, meditation and prayer help with this. Running your energy through the pelvis can help you to start liquefying and moving out and transforming that old pain into where it's more easily adapted to other more coherent frequencies. But I have a saying, it's called take the elevator to the top. So we're going to do that in our meditation today. I'm going to guide you how to take the elevator to the top to shift your attitude, shift your frequency from the bottom of the barrel of what might be old pain back up to that higher frequency where you have the capacity to have 100 choices of how you are feeling versus 2 or 3 choices. And then we're just going to play with the barrel by taking the cork out of the bottom. And if there's any old energy there, we're just going to drain it right down our grounding today. We'll get a start on it, okay? So let's go ahead and everyone close your eyes, turn within, say hello to your body. And let your body know that you want to shift some toxic frequencies out of your field, some frequencies that can make your body feel sick. Ask your body to cooperate. Please don't resist today. Please play well with others. Please be willing to let go of this old pain. You can talk to your body that way and it works. Beautiful. Remind yourself of what today's date is and how old you are today. Say good morning to that bright soul of yours that no matter what is happening in your life, loves and adores you like no other. So send a little adoring love to your own spirit this morning. Now let's go ahead and create a grounding image. You can ask your spirit to show you a fun, playful image to work with that's going to function as a drain as well. Or you can create your own image. A lot of people like to work with the image of a tree with really strong roots or a rainbow. It's amazing how strong a rainbow of colors can be. Or a waterfall or a barrel of monkeys. And go ahead and imagine that grounding connecting to the lower part of your body. It's going to go through the seat of the chair, the floor of the room, the earth's crust, all the way down to the center of the earth's core. And then you're just going to wrap yourself around that grounding around the core. Now imagine bringing up a little earth energy up through your legs, because I'm going to ask you to go all the way up to your diaphragm with earth energy. Now, earth energy can be any color, any frequency, any texture, like sand or clay or seawater. It can be purple, blue, green, brown, yellow. Just pretend that you're bringing up the frequency of earth energy up through your legs and into the lower part of your body. Earth energy attaches to toxic frequencies. It's such a great detoxer. So it attaches to old toxic energy. And what I mean by toxic is whatever makes you not feel very good. And then it drains it. So imagine filling up to about your diaphragm with the earth energy. And then imagine like a drain, it's going to just go right back down the grounding to be recycled. Ooh, I got some goosebumps on that one. It just tells me as a group, you're really shifting the frequency. All right, so now just above your head, just imagine calling in this beautiful cosmic celestial energy into the room with you. What color? What color are you drawn to today? So then go ahead and whatever that color is, it could be blue, green, orange, purple, red, turquoise, yellow, pink, pearl, gold, silver, whatever color or colors you want, and just let it just flow into the room where you are and let it just soak and saturate your aura and flow right down your grounding as well. Oh, wonderful shift. You shifted again. You shifted frequencies again. So now you can take your hands and you can put them on the sides of your head, or you can take your fingertips and kind of go on the side of your head just above your ears to kind of point the direction for your spirit, your consciousness to go. And is your consciousness moving from above? It's coming down into your sixth chakra, Or is it down below your consciousness and you're moving up to your sixth chakra? See if you can sense which road you traveled on to get to the center of your sixth chakra where your clear, neutral observer is. Now you can imagine like a frequency is a dial. So you can imagine kind of turning the dial to go to a lower, lower, lower vibrational frequency. So allow yourself to kind of feel and sense and experience. Just go lower and lower and lower in the frequency. Are those lower frequencies familiar to you? Are you able to name what those lower frequencies may be for you? How does your body feel in those lower frequencies? And now shift the frequency by dialing it up to another frequency that is lighter, brighter, more coherent, and more harmonious for your body and your spirit and your consciousness. So go ahead and just boom, 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 boom. Just raise the frequency. By turning the dial up. And you might even tip over into a really high frequency because that's not so comfortable either for some people, but you can just taste test it and then dial it back again until you get to the frequency that you are really enjoying right now. Yeah, I can sense some emotions out there that are being released as you adjust and shift frequencies. It can let loose some old blocked energy that can go right down your grounding, and then you can have an emotional release. Now, just for a moment, let's make sure you're in your sixth chakra, because if you've moved your frequency up and down, you may have dropped lower in your belly. You may have kind of moved out of your body a little bit. So you want to come back to the area of your pineal in your sixth chakra. Beautiful. Remind yourself of today's date and your age again, because as the frequency range moved, it may have kicked up some old memories. So you want to remind yourself of today's date. Whatever date you're listening to the recording. Now, from that place of the neutral observer, imagine and pretend that you have this old barrel in front of you. It can be a whiskey barrel, it can be one of those metal drums that holds oil or other liquids in it. We used to use those barrels as burn barrels, punch little holes in the bottom so the air could get to the fire. Just notice the barrel. You might look inside the barrel. You might shake that barrel back and forth to see how full it is of some old energetic toxins. And then go ahead and punch a hole in the bottom of it, or you can imagine it has a twist off cap, or you can imagine it has a cork, whatever, however you want to imagine it. Go ahead and pop that on out, and then just watch that barrel of toxins drain right down your grounding. And why don't you bring in that little celestial light to really clear out the last remnants in that barrel. Go ahead and drain it down, 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 down. Some of you might feel a little nauseated. Just make the hole bigger so it drains. And it just means you're shifting a lot of energy. And when you've done that, go ahead and drop the barrel right down your grounding. Drop that container. And then start to fill yourself back up with your own soul's light of kindness and caring and whatever else you want to raise the frequency on of your own spirit. Go ahead and fill in all those places, especially down in your hips, your lower back, in your heart chakra, arms, legs. Just fill yourself back up with your own light. If you start to get a little overwhelmed with feelings that are overwhelming, move back up to the sixth chakra. Move up back onto your pineal, and that will help a lot. You don't want to be swimming in the barrel. You want to be up above as the observer. There you go. That seemed to help a lot of you. So quickly thank your body for its willingness to let go of some old toxins today. Thank your body for its willingness to play with experiencing different frequencies and vibrations. Thank your spirit for helping you to have an experience. And thank yourself for showing up on this call today. And so whenever you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes. And stretch your arms and your legs. And post in the comment section when you feel up to it, what your experience was like, and no worries, because I can read that a bit later. We definitely have gone into the 45-minute range, but I just want to let you know, currently I'm working on Psychic Mastery 2, which we will launch in January. We also have the winter solstice that's coming up, and so that link is here as well. So go ahead and sign up, because the winter solstice is going to be really, really good. Now, in this talk, it seems like I've kind of oversimplified things, and healing yourself, it can be that easy. It can be that simple. But for others of you who may have experienced hurt and harm and hardship, it still can be really helpful to find a therapist to talk to about it. because your body often likes to process. Your spirit can shift quickly. Sometimes your body needs to kind of talk things out. And your body definitely needs to integrate. So drink water, go out walks in nature, choose some healthy foods that are high frequency foods to help support you. That was a lot. So shifting from bottom of the barrel to top drawer frequency in seconds. Come to the center of the head, let go of the toxins. All right. Take care, everyone. Have a great week. And we are in the United States here heading into our Thanksgiving holiday. I'm definitely next week going to be doing a meditation at 7 a.m. on Thanksgiving for those of you who would like to start your day that way. All right. So we'll see you then. Bye-bye.